much. Good evening, everybody. So I'm here to talk to you about our post-16 provision at South Island School. So at South Island, we run two IB accredited programs. We have the IB diploma program and we have the IB career related program. As you can see on this screen, there's a brief overview of some of the differences between these two programs. So if we look first at the IBDP, within this program, students study 6 subjects plus the core. The emphasis on this program really is on breadth. In terms of assessment, there is some internal assessment, but the majority of assessment for this course is via exams right at the end of the 2 years. Looking now at the IB career-related program, students here study 3 to 4 subjects plus the core. And the emphasis here is more on specialising. One of those courses will have a career-related focus. And you'll also see that the assessment is slightly different with IBCP. There is far more internal assessment all the way throughout the course, and there are fewer exams at the end. Both of these are very good courses to prepare students for university. And in terms of requirements to access these programmes, we ask that students have 5 GCSEs at grades 9 to 4 or A star to C, or an equivalent. So really when students join, we're looking at their capabilities across 5 subjects, and we're particularly looking at English and maths and how students are performing in science if they wish to go to DP. Now moving on to the next slide, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the programme, the IBDP programme, in a little bit more detail. So as mentioned, students study 6 courses plus the core. 3 of those courses have to be taken at higher level and 3 at standard level. Higher level courses will be ones that students are perhaps more interested in, or perhaps courses that they need for higher education courses in the future. And students will spend more time in their higher level classes than in the standard level classes. Each course at IB is awarded a mark out of 7, and then there are 3 additional points available for the core. So that gives a total possible point score for this programme of 45 points. So in addition to their subjects, we've got the core on the right there, and that is Theory of Knowledge, which is a course that develops critical thinking skills. We have the Extended Essay, which is an independent research project that finishes with a 4,000-word essay. And we have Creativity, Activity and Service, which was mentioned earlier in the MAD video. And students have to build a portfolio to show that beyond academics, they are being creative, that they are keeping healthy and being active, and that they are undertaking service to benefit either school or the community. So looking at these tables that I've got here, so the IB programme is organised into 6 groups, and it allows students, if they want to take one from each group, to take a first language course, a foreign language, a humanities subject, a science, maths, and a creative subject. However, the 2 examples that I've put here on the screen for you are 2 programmes which show that there is a small amount of flexibility for students to be able to pursue their interests. So if you look at the student on the left, that is a student who wants to specialise in first language, so maybe a student who is strong in English and Chinese, so can take 2 first language courses, not take a foreign language, then they've taken economics, design technology, maths and music. That student on the left would be awarded a bilingual diploma because of the 2 first languages. If we look at the student on the right, that's a student that maybe wants to have more of a science focus. So you can see there that that student has chosen higher level biology and chemistry and hasn't chosen a creative subject. And the programme on the right would be something possibly if a student were considering medicine at university, they would make that decision to drop a creative subject and to take 2 sciences. If we move on to the next slide now, we're going to take a look at a sample IBCP programme. So as mentioned previously, a big part of the IBCP is really about specialising, and you have to have a career-related course within there. So you can see listed on the left all of the career-related courses that can be studied by students at South Island School. Some of those are taught on-site and some of those are taught with partners in Hong Kong. So a student will choose one of those career-related courses. They will then choose 2 to 3 IB courses. and they will take the course. So you can see here we've got a student who's taken BTEC Business and decided to couple that with economics, global politics, and Spanish ab initio. And you can see from that table there's a wide variety of choices of courses available here at South Island School. Okay, moving on, we're going to have a quick look now at how our students do. What are the outcomes on our two programs? So with the IBDP, you can see the first table there, and that shows our average point score over the years. And you can see from that, out of a possible total point score of 45, our students consistently do very well, and we regularly come in way above the worldwide average. Looking at the graph underneath, that's related to our results from last year. So you can see in May 2020 that actually 89.9% of our students got 30 or more points at IB, so they exceeded that worldwide average. And you can also see that around about a third, just under a third of our students actually achieved 40 or more points out of a total possible of 45. We're now going to take a quick look on the next slide at our outcomes for IBCP. Now, this programme has only been running at South Island School for 2 years. So you can see 2020 was our first year where we had 100% pass rate on the IBCP programme. And the table underneath is looking at the outcomes in the BTEC programmes, in those career-related programmes. And you can see there that over half of our students scored distinctions. The D stands for distinction, either a double distinction or a single distinction in their BTECs. And those distinctions are an equivalent of an A grade at A level or a 7 in a higher level IB course. We're now going to take a look on the next slide at where our students go to after SIS. So you can see from that map that our students go to a wide variety of destinations all over the world. Last year was an atypical year. We had a slightly higher number of students who chose to take a gap year because of the uncertainty with COVID-19. But the figures do bear out general patterns that we see over time. So the majority of our students do head towards the UK. USA is our second most common destination. And students deciding to stay on in Hong Kong is something that's growing over time. Okay, if we move on to the next slide, you can now see here where our students go to. So over the last couple of years, this shows where our students have gone to in terms of the top ranked universities in the world. So you can see there that lots of those universities are represented. Okay, let's invite some of our students here now to talk to us. So if I can invite Perrin, Jason, Bethany and Kitty, if you can please turn on your cameras and your microphones for me, please. Okay, thank you very much. So I've got a few questions for you. So if I can start with the first one, and I'm going to direct this to Perrin first of all. What are some of the similarities and differences between your lessons here at South Island School and those in your previous school, Perrin?
Sorry, Mike. Personally, right? It's much interactive. For example, I do history, right? That's one of my passions. And history, a lot of time, stereotypically, right? History is just like the teachers just talking at you for like hours and hours on straight. It's really boring, but not in SIS. It's completely different. There's a lot of group projects. There's a lot of presentations. A couple times we even had debates, and it's honestly just breathtaking. It's completely different.
Jason, could you tell me a little about your experience? Any similarities or differences between South Island and your previous school?
So I think the most prominent difference is the interactiveness as well, like between students, as we have a lot of group activities and a lot of diversity going on inside the classroom, where we will do a lot of different activities with students and with the teachers as well. So when we have questions, we can ask the teachers, but we can share ideas between students. So I think that's the main difference between my old school and South Island School.
Very much. Okay, I'm going to move over to Bethany and Kitty now. I'm going to start with you, Bethany. What kind of skills do you feel that SIS is helping you to develop that may be useful for you in the future?
Well, I think it's definitely communication skills, because like what the two other students has just said, they said like there are a lot of group works and presentations that we have to do that involves like cooperation with other people. So that is one skill. And I think communication is really important, especially when you go into university where you have to talk to so many different people. And I feel like South Island School has definitely trained up my speaking skills, my communication and cooperation skills. And I think these are really important.
Great, thank you. See, how about you? Any skills that you really feel you've developed during your time with us that will be useful for the future?
Um, I would say that South Island has taught me studying skills as well, because often we feel that we know how to study, but it's actually about studying effectively and knowing the skills and processes to take to actually retain as much or the most important information of the collective amount that we have to do, that we have.
Very much. Okay. So another question I've got here is really thinking about the programs that you've chosen. So, Erin, what was it that made you choose IBDP?
What made you choose IBDP? I guess I've always been more into like the sciences, right? Even at GCSE, I was always more into the sciences rather than the let's say creative arts or languages. I was always more of a science guy, and also for higher education, of course. But because of higher education, I chose true HL sciences. So yeah, those two main factors.
What about you, Kitty? You've chosen to do the CP program. What was it that made you choose that program?
I knew sort of the career field that I wanted to go into from the start of the IB. So I knew that I wanted to sort of follow into the fashion industry. And so South Island presented me the opportunity to take BTEC Art Fashion Design, as well as sort of a business course and a language course, which I feel work better for me. And with my own personal experience, sort of maths and science were never subjects that I really got along with. So I was able to take a more creative route that definitely fit me better personally. So that was why I chose the IBCP.
Very much. Now, obviously, IB programs require you to keep on top of your studies. You have to do a big independent project and you have to complete your CAS. So I'm interested to hear very briefly how you manage your workload. So Jason, how do you do that?
So first of all, I think a really important thing to do is a schedule. Because IBDP, I take the IBDP course, and that course, aside from academics, we have TOK, we have extended essays, and we have CAS as well. CAS is like creative activity and service. It's a very all-rounded course to take, so you really have to manage your time really well by actually creating a schedule for yourself to follow, or the workload is gonna overcome you. And I think that's really important.